Hey, what's up, guys? I just wanted to share an experience that I had, which has something to do with hell. It's my first time speaking out about it because I really just didn't know how to articulate the message. So now I have kind of like a little more knowledge about the situation. I was actually in jail, guys, at the time. I was selling drugs and I got caught with some drugs in my pocket. I was in a dark place. At that time, I actually started doing a little bit. My first time ever doing drugs, especially like hard drugs. I have like tried to smoke some marijuana, but that just wasn't my thing. So I was like a square, as in, doing drugs. So one day I was just in a dark place and I wanted to feel better about whatever I was going through. I'm not gonna get into what I was going through, but I went to jail and I can just remember just laying on my bunk and the judge was like giving me probation. My first time, and he, and I had to do like probably like 30-day jail time. And I was just laying on my bunk and I heard this voice. It was angry, coming from up above, and I can hear it, and it was just like an angry, loud voice, right? I was actually like laying down thinking, maybe like going into like meditation, and I just heard this loud, echoing voice, angry, right? And I woke up, I just got up and I was like, did anybody hear that? And they was like, nah, man, you dreaming or something, go back to sleep. And I'm like, yeah, for real, ain't nobody hear that? And I lay down back on my bunk and I knew it was God. And I was just thinking like, who am I to, for God to just, just reveal, his voice and how angry he was. And I was just like, dang. So a couple of days passed and I was just like thinking, I knew I was going to get out. I didn't really know what I was going to do. When I get out, the only option was to get a job and try to do right. But I was at a place to where it was impossible for me to get out and get a job. And, where I was at, who the people and places and things. And I just knew, like, if I don't get my life straight, I was going to be a person that was going to be in and out of jail. And that's not something that I wanted to do. I always wanted to work and take care of my family and be a family man. That's something I had in my heart the whole time. And I was just spiraling into something that I really didn't want for myself. And I knew that it wasn't going to take me nowhere but jail or death. So as I'm getting out, I'm trying to make plans to do right. I gave my life to Christ, and and I can't let him down like that. I don't want to hear that angry voice anymore. So I got out, and just what I thought, it happens. I wind up in that situation all over again, trying to do right. I just feel like a person that want to do right, but it's just like everything was like, it was like, and I was just a babe in Christ, and it was like everything just was like against me. I wake up 5 in the morning, go to this job site, trying to get a job. My name would be the first on the list, but they call everybody, everybody else. They'll skip my name and call everybody else. And, I went back. And I got caught up again. Went to jail again, guys. And when I went to jail, I was like, this time it was it. I went to prison this time, guys. Never went to prison. And it was like, I don't know why I'm here. I'm different than everybody. You could just tell that. And everybody's like, man, you don't belong here, bro. You just, But then, one day I was laying down again on my bunk, and I could just feel my breath, just like I was laying down on my bunk. And then you know how a person have a heart attack, and you go to deep breathing, you dying, you losing your breath, and you trying to deep breathe to gain conscious. That's how this situation was, guys. And each time, as I'm breathing hard and hard and harder and harder and harder on my breath, I gain conscious. And then all of a sudden, it happened again. And I'm trying to get my breath. I'm fighting not to die, guys. Literally fighting not to die. So I see myself drifting away. And this last time of me like catching my breath and trying to regain my consciousness, I just began to let go, and I'm like, I couldn't talk, but I could just like think within. You can't like speak out, but you can pretty much pray within. You can talk to God within. And so therefore I was just talking, and I was in a place to where I was in hell, right? And it was like demons, and it was just like, and they was torturing me like all day long. It was like torturing me with fire, with just stinging me, all kinds of stuff, right? And as I'm drifting, I can hear this calling, just like it was more like a how can I explain this? I heard like the commandments, and it was just being called out to me, and I knew it was the commandments, the land of the law, and the land of the law was being called out to me, and every covenant was being called out to me. And as the covenants were being called out to me, it was pretty much letting me know, okay, when you reach this last, there's no coming back, Damien. I didn't hear that, but in my spirit, and I was just like, I'm tired. I'm tired, but deep down inside, I didn't want to go to heaven, but I was more like, you know what? I just didn't want to. I was getting tortured. guys. So I just didn't want to feel that torture, but in my heart, I wasn't ready to go and give up. So God knew my heart, but at the last, I'm finna tell you guys something. At the last little calling that I heard, it was the date, the end of the world, and the date. If I would have got to that, it was something in my spirit to let me know that if you hear that date, you coming up. And I still would refuse because I was like, I didn't want to go through this no more. So by the time I know, it was an angel. I felt the angel tap me in the back of my head and nudge me. It was like a nudge in the back of my head, and it was something in my spirit to let me know that's an angel, and the angel was taking me up. And also during that time, it was like given to me like you have assignment to do, and you have a job to do, and I need you to do this job. And that was it. And during that time, I saw a lot of stuff. I heard a lot of stuff. I saw a lot of stuff. It's just a lot of stuff that I know, but it's just, I don't know if it's the right time. But you know, some stuff I have, like I have a problem with articulating it because I feel like people won't understand. Some people might get it. Some people might, you know. So that's my story, guys, of hell and heaven and God and angels. I love you guys, and I'm out.